Coming to from the defining states of America. It's the Bob and Bob Show.
This is a president who has said, grab women by the pussy. This is a president who's called black athletes sons of bitches. This is a president who has called black people who come from black and brown countries shitholes. This is a president who has equated neo-Nazis with those who protest against them in Charlottesville. This is a president who has openly violated the very value our country aspires to uphold.
Hey, welcome back to the Bob and Bob Show. And if you're a new listener, go ahead and pat yourself on the back because you, my friend, can see through the bullshit. So if you're looking for some serious opinions on some serious stuff, you're in the right place. You can also catch our show at bobandbobshow.com and on iHeart, iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Google Play, and on YouTube. Plus, make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And you can also join our email list by texting Bob and Bob Show to 22828. So let's get on with it there, Bob.
Let's do it.
We have Bob with us as always, and I'm Bob. They call me LB, and he is the bearded one.
Beard.
As always, we are on here cranking out all this crazy stuff in the news, and we got Miss Omar.
We have no chops today.
Oh, yeah. We have no chops today. I didn't announce him either.
I know.
Because he's not here. So.
I know. It's a shame, man. Choppy, where you at? Come on, buddy.
Anyway, so we got Omar. She's out there all crazy, saying crazy stuff.
They all say crazy stuff, man.
Trump,
they feed on each other.
He's saying crazy stuff too.
He's the most uncouth, tactless president ever, probably. He's a destabilizer. Whether he means to be or not, that's what he's doing. He's a destabilizer, an antagonist.
He's also, the way I look at it is, both Omar and this squad of these women up there screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
I believe and look at it as the fact that it's a big dog and pony show.
Absolutely.
And they're both on both sides of this thing.
Yeah.
They're just spewing forth all this racist crap left and right.
Yeah,
you're racist. No, you're racist. You know what I mean?
We're watching people go through character bickering back and forth instead of doing any real governing of this nation. You know?
Dude, did you watch some of this stuff, man? It looked really crazy. The way that they're acting, both sides,
all
man.
of them.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Even the Trump supporters, man, they're out there chanting, what were they? Send her back. Send her back. Oh, my God.
Man, that's a disappointment.
That seemed like some Nazism stuff right there. Like they're out there marching.
I hate to say it, but that does mirror real bigotry in the governmental sector. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we do have free speech, so I mean, if that's how people feel, that's how they feel, right?
I'm not saying it should be prohibited. I'm saying it's a low point that it's even happening. That's what I'm saying.
I guess, man. I don't know. This was at a Make America Great Again campaign rally in Greenville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And he was saying stuff about the four horsemen or whatever they're calling them now. The squad.
Yeah, the squad, yeah.
And, you know, they're just the crowd came out of nowhere and started chanting that. So, I mean, did he have like some digital screen up in the background telling the people to say that?
And it probably wasn't anything set up, honestly. It was probably organic. I mean, it was a few people in the audience that started chanting it and then it caught on. It happens all the time.
I know.
That's how mobs work.
Right,
you know?
It is. You get one thing to catch on out of nowhere. Kaboom!
And it turns into a mad mob, dude. It's insane.
Well, you know, Trump said a lot of things about Omar in the speech. I mean, this bickering back and forth really is just getting to be disgusting. And it's not just Trump's side. It's not just the other side. It's both.
Oh, yeah.
They are acting as one, dividing the nation. That's what they're doing. That's what it looks like to me.
Absolutely correct. They are acting as one. The one game of dividing everybody through racial rhetoric.
Yeah, it's the only game in town.
Yeah.
And they're the ones playing it, and they own both sides of it, and it's all planned.
Yeah.
But see, here's the thing with me is I always look at it from a perspective of some outside influence that we have no control over, and they're shadowy, and we don't know what they are or what they do.
That element is there.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that, you know, you can push and pull strings here and there, and you can push people a little bit. Maybe they'll jump over a cliff. You never know. You know what I mean? So what could be going on behind the scenes in this shadowy realm that I'm talking about?
Well, what are they trying to distract us from? Are they trying to keep us from looking at what they're doing? Is this boogeyman stuff, the race
I'm
baiting?
just saying, like, first off, before we could even assume that there's some underlying agenda that nobody knows about in this whole dog and pony show. And I know a lot of people have heard that term before, dog and pony show, but all it is just a show, pretty much.
Yeah.
Where they're just prancing around, showing things off.
It's the theatrics and performance of politics.
Yeah, so that's what we talk about when we say the dog and pony show. So if you can keep this stuff blasting around on media and all this, you can get the people divided, okay? Now we're trying to figure out, well, who has it in their best interest to divide this nation?
It keeps the people from coming to the realization that they have no say over policy, or they have no say over policy, mandate, or legislation, even though they get to, quote-unquote, vote. They have no say at all. They have no control over any of it. And it keeps them distracted and focused on things like the partisan bickering.
Right. So
while the real business is being done behind a curtain.
Well, what I'm trying to get at is who is behind this curtain?
A lot of people, man.
Well, I know, some of the rich elite, but when you talk about rich elite, I mean, I guess there's a couple tiers of that, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like any other, I mean.
So there's like the billionaire class. There's is a millionaire an elite?
It depends on what context we're going for here. Is a millionaire elite as far as like world power type stuff? No, not even close. Not even close, man.
Well, isn't there some family dynasties or some?
Oh yeah,
they own like 50%.
They're not millionaires.
They own like 50% of the nation's, or actually the world's wealth. You said, or something like that.
There's the Rothschild banking cartel. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier before the show. Why don't you fill me in on some of that stuff?
Well, I have a list here. These are 8 billionaires and their estimated wealth, and they have a lot of money. These 8 billionaires have what amounts to more money than I think it was 48% of the rest of the population. Bill Gates,
population of the world.
Of the world, yes, the world. Bill Gates is number 1, $75 billion.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, I know. Amancio Ortega, $67 billion. I don't even know who that is. I don't know who a lot of these are. Warren Buffett, $60.8 billion. Carlos Slim Helu, $50 billion. Jeff Bezos, $45.2 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, $44.6 billion. Larry Ellison, $43.6 billion. Michael Bloomberg, $40 billion.
Wow. Man, could you imagine what people could do and how did you get $50 billion?
Dude, a million.
$50 billion.
I know.
This is a B.
Yeah.
That's
huge.
There
are nations that don't have that kind of wealth. Cities, towns, everything.
That's ridiculous. So that just shows you. I mean, how do they get to that point?
Well,
it's probably from lying, cheating, and stealing and manipulating everything globally. Probably
you have to do dirt to get that wealthy.
You have to.
Be
how do you be honest?
Ruthlessly competitive.
Yeah. How could you be honest with a lot of stuff?
Well, honesty. You have to be legal with a lot of it, unless I guess you don't. But if you're doing it through business, you have to. It can be done legally, but you have to be absolutely ruthless. You have to be willing to steal intellectual property and things like that. Like Apple and Microsoft went back and forth with a lot of stuff. But the thing about wealth like that, it's not even about money anymore. When you're worth $40 billion, $1 million is like $20, dude. The power that wields.
Oh yeah,
is immense.
It is, and
that's what the goal is.
They have to protect assets and protect their businesses that are still running, that still have to pay people to get stuff done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're going to protect their interests so they can keep profiting.
Yeah.
So if a political person of some sort is playing ball with them, then how do you they can like pay him off, make him
easily
do whatever.
It's the path of least resistance. When you have $40 billion, how do you get what you want? Throw a bunch of money at the problem. Who controls it? The legislators, the policymakers. Grease them up, man.
So how we're looking at this now is, we're seeing this stuff with Omar and all this stuff that Trump is saying, but we're saying they're having some strings pulled on both sides by these financiers.
What we are talking about right now is what nobody is focused on, because CNN and Fox and all the other network news outlets that are all owned by the same corporation are talking about sending an American citizen back to her country. It's lowest common denominator baiting, man. And I don't even know that it's even intentional.
Yeah,
They
right.
might actually be this ridiculous.
Yeah, they are, and I'm sure there's a few that are getting their strings pulled here and there, but the other ones are following suit because they
Yeah.
agree with it in this manner.
It's sophomoric, man.
Yeah, and it's not a unifying situation on either side of the ball
It's
game here.
distractive and divisional.
Yeah, it is.
Let me put one thing in perspective here, though. Ocasio-Cortez a little while back here was trying to defend her stance of raising the pay for Congress, right? And she used the point. I've actually had people try to debate this, but she said it on camera, and it's pretty well documented and covered. But she tried to say that this $5,000 raise for Congress, an annual raise of about $5,000, was going to help keep dark money out of government, which to me is hilarious.
What Congress pay increases?
Yeah.
What?
It was a couple months ago.
Oh, man.
And she was vying for it, and it's funny to hear her justification of trying to say that it's a cost of living increase. Well, if you can't deal with a $175,000 salary, I don't want you making policy, first of all.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
just to
you're
be screwing stuff around and
Yeah,
messing things up.
That's their personal salary. You're an inept, you're just a jackass, a loser if you can't manage with that, okay? I don't care what city you're in. And the other part of it is trying to say that a $5,000 raise is going to a cost of living increase, right? $5,000 annual raise is going to eliminate dark money in politics is absolutely hilarious. That's like, that is completely laughable. You know what? I don't think I'm going to take that $300,000 campaign contribution. I got a $5,000 raise. I'm good, bro. It's so easy to defeat that rationale.
Still on the Omar thing, she literally calls Donald Trump homophobic, xenophobic, racist.
He probably is on some level. Those things, but
nobody really freaking knows. Well, what I'm hearing, what he's saying is kind of vulgar.
Sure.
And maybe
he is vulgar.
Maybe it is borderline racist here and there. Maybe,
Yeah.
I guess.
Dude,
I don't know. But let's stop being babies about this stuff all the time. And
Right.
they're using this to pit people against each other.
Sure. And they're playing right into it.
So Trump says this, they say that. He's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a this, he's a that. And then on the other side with Trump, they're like, oh, these women are against our country, send them home, stuff like that. Like,
they're
come on.
un-American.
Yeah. So it's a big spin, and if nobody can see the blatant
They're no more
show of it.
un-American than he is, dude.
Say what?
They're no more un-American than he is, man.
Then who is? Donald Trump?
Yeah.
You think he's un-American?
In some ways, yeah. Absolutely. He does not respect the Constitution and negative rights. He doesn't.
Yeah, well,
I say take the guns first and due process later. That's the words of a despot. I don't care what your opinion is on that.
Right.
That's the words of a despot.
Yeah, you can't say that, man. That's ridiculous. Oh, and that's what this is all about. You can't say this and you can't say that.
Right.
That's what Trump was saying at his rally and all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what pissed everybody
that's
off.
un-American,
They're all
so-
like, this is a free country. We have a First Amendment, and we can say that.
Maybe he should go back to his country or whatever. It's as dumb as what he's saying to them.
Where is he from? Like Scandinavia?
He's from America.
Oh, well, I'm saying, didn't his ancestry from like somewhere else?
Yeah, like most people's.
Yeah. It's a nation of immigrants.
It is.
It is.
Literally a nation of immigrants.
But you see,
like
when,
all nations.
when the bloodlines
it just depends on how far back in history you go.
Right.
Dude.
So when the bloodlines, the original bloodlines got in here, you know what I mean? That's one thing. But now we're many, many years later, and now things have changed.
Yeah.
You can't just flood over the border like thousands of you at once. It doesn't happen. You can't do it.
Yeah. And especially when you have social programs in place that are positive government that obligate citizens to carry a burden. Yeah, you can't just have wide open borders in any sense. And but here's another thing that comes to mind, okay? Because this is a massive nation. It's like 330 billion, something like that, under the federal citizenship umbrella. And there are a lot of undocumented immigrants here, and not all of them are Mexican or from Central America, but there are a lot of undocumented immigrants here. My whole thing on that is, why are we putting resources into getting them out of here instead of just getting them citizenship? They're already here.
Well, I understand that.
Some of them have been here they've built families and lives here.
Right.
So they're undocumented, so destroy their whole family. How is that liberty? That's becoming the monster that you claim that you're trying to stop.
Oh, well, if they're
That's
here,
straight tyranny,
listen, if
dude.
they're here and they
On
don't
a human level.
listen, if they're here and they're not paying taxes, which is tyrannical.
Then document them and they'll be paying taxes.
Right? Yeah. So get in there.
Right.
And figure out who they are, get them some social security numbers, and get them all legit, and then leave it alone.
Grant them amnesty because right now they have to hide because they're criminal for being here. So grant the amnesty.
But when you're down at the border,
The border's a different situation.
They got to be vetted. They got to be checked out. And if you're coming over in giant squads like that,
the government is putting all kinds of money and resource into this police state marshal style like immigrant grab for people that are undocumented that are already here. That needs to go away. That to me is anti-liberty. Okay, they're already here. Just wash it. Okay.
Well, see, like here,
but the border is a different
here we go.
situation. All that resource could go to that then, since the border crisis is so massive that apparently we can't manage it. Take away all of the resource from the people that are already here, and unless they attract attention to themselves, like chop somebody up with a machete. Not like an American citizen can't do that anyway. But so if they do that, deal with it. Whatever. Someone that's obviously a criminal, get rid of them. But the rest of the resource put towards what's going on down there right now. Because even Mexico is trying to keep these people out of their country.
Listen.
Dude.
Omar herself, and see, this is where, I do agree with this squad occasionally.
I do too. Sometimes
This isn't a situation where I know you and I both, we don't just identity politic our way around. You know what I mean?
There's times I agree with what Trump says.
But listen,
they agree with each other, and they can't even agree on that.
Right. But Omar blamed the United States for the crisis in Venezuela.
Well.
And so our
Didn't we put a coup down there?
I don't know. Our interventionalism seems to be across the globe, and I think we do have our hands in some stuff down there, don't we?
We have our hands in lots of things in Central and South America and all over the world.
That's something that, she said that's for real, man.
It's true, and it's verifiable.
Yeah, but then you turn around and be like, and Trump's a racist and bigot, right?
That's
on top
where she
of that.
needs to shut up.
That's where it screws up. That is showing that you're a little kid just like him.
Let people can see what he is. You don't have to bring it into every sentence. You know what I mean? That's what she can stop doing. She can be the bigger party by not being reactionary to childish behavior.
She also blamed the United States for terrorist attacks on our country, saying that terrorism is a reaction of our involvement in other people's affairs.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
It's pretty obvious.
It's obvious. And you know what?
The Germanics attacked the Roman army. Did you hear? The Germanics attacked the Roman army. All the Roman army did was enter their land and slaughter a few of their people. And then they attacked the Romans. Those damn Germanics.
Oh, man.
It's the same thing, dude.
So, yeah, it's the exact same thing. This has been used all the time. We've seen it across the board historically. If you actually look at history, you can see this kind of propaganda machine firing up. You know what I mean?
It goes all the way back to the Sumerians, man.
Jeez.
And before that, we just don't have records.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you get a smear campaign saying that new evidence suggests Omar faked a marriage with her brother to trick immigration.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I mean, and then they question like all these certain family members and stuff like that, and they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. We have no comment.
Well, that's the kind of thing that people do to get their families together in a nation where they can have an opportunity to live a healthy, prosperous life, and that is what most people are doing. That's, you know what I mean? If it really is about humanitarian efforts and the good of humanity, you have to keep your approach humanitarian. You know what I mean?
I mean, but you also have to protect yourself from outside
absolutely
nasties.
Yes, you
some
do.
Nasty criminals.
Right.
So how do you do that then?
Well, you have to have a vetting process. You have to and we do.
Yeah. The problem is they're coming in such huge groups
down there right now.
Yeah, it's flooding over, and it's like we're trying to process them and figure out what's going on. But
there's so many
you gotta. They have to go back down and look and see where these people are coming from.
Why?
Did they come from MS-13? Did they come from some other freaking ISIS fighter group or something?
Dude,
you don't know.
MS-13 has been in the United States for like 25 years.
But that doesn't mean that there's other gang members of other cliques down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then also from other countries.
You want to know how to get rid of MS-13? I'll tell you right now.
Let me hear it then.
And the drug war.
Oh, here we go with that again.
Hit them where it hurts, man.
Yeah, you have to.
Where does their money come from?
The frickin' CIA.
well, I don't know if we're gonna get into that right now. But.
Well, no, maybe that's just some of their game.
Dude, their money comes from drug empires. They're Los Zetas. It's a cartel, man. And MS-13, the Sinaloa and CDG, they work together. They are like, I want to call them like militia groups that work for cartels, with cartels being the equivalency of like a standing army, a national army. They are like the militia groups. They are like the French Foreign Legion of the cartels.
Well,
it's street gangs like that. Where does cartels' money come from? What's their entire motive? What's their empire based on?
Drugs.
And Americans' heavy appetite for them.
But see, the seriousness of this is where
it's not just Americans either, but
we have to look at it from another standpoint. First off,
dude, if you end the drug war, MS-13 will go away.
If they're running things in conjunction, so there's a drug war that needs to be ended. There's an
the drug war is going on because it's meant to keep going.
We are meddling in all kinds of things across the globe that they don't want people paying attention to that,
sure.
or the drug war,
right.
Okay, or the inflation, or the debt ceiling.
They don't want people to figure out that this chaos is manufactured and perpetuated.
Yeah, so if everybody starts looking at these things, the real deal, then they're going to have problems. So we have to get this, Trump's a racist and a bigot and freaking Omar over here, and then we got to have, a bunch of other stuff going on at the same time. The crowd chanting,
send
her back.
That's so insane.
Come on,
dude.
man. I mean, it's obvious to see that they're throwing a bunch of stuff out there, so that we're not looking in the other direction.
Right.
And the other direction is a very scary place. I mean, what about Iran? We have a war with Iran going on right now. Well, not a war, but it's getting ready.
It's
still escalating.
Hot.
Yeah. And they're dealing with the UK too. So this could be bad news, or are they just fear mongering? We don't know what's going on.
Well, it's all fear mongering, all of it.
But I mean, apparently the Strait of Hormuz, that's a supply chain for a lot of stuff for that region.
Yeah,
and they're pulling cargo ships out of the water, like UK ships. Iran.
Yeah,
you didn't hear about this, did you? They pulled. Apparently, they took down a drone. We took down a drone. Then two carrier ships have been taken out of the water.
Strait of
I don't know if they're
Hormuz
shipping ships.
Is not a sovereign territory, is it? It's international waters, right?
Yeah, to get through Hormuz. Yeah.
If I was Iran, I would leave it alone.
Yeah. Well, they're poking bears.
I mean, just being honest, yeah.
They poked the UK and they poked the US. So
yeah. Well, we poke them, but
we do that too. Yeah. We're the ones that are meddling in everybody's affairs.
Yeah.
So they're probably poking for a reason.
Sure.
There's something going on over there that we don't know about.
Well, I'm just saying, this is my personal perspective on it. What I would do, it's in international waters, I would leave it alone. That's what I would do. Now, if they get into my sovereign territory, it's on. That's when I'll poke at you. But I wanted to say something else too, though, man.
Go ahead, shoot.
In spite of all this wealth, we're talking about people at the tip of the spear and all that, the top of the mountain. It's incredible how much money all those billionaires have, but there is one dynasty that has as much wealth as all of them put together, and it's as much as half of the world's entire wealth.
What is that?
It's the Rothschild.
Oh, the
central banking cartel.
The Rothschilds are that big?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's hundreds of years of development, manipulation, international banking, where they set up central banks in various nations. These nations go to war, and all of a sudden the same bank is funding both sides of the war.
So you're talking like the Federal Reserve is a Rothschild brainchild?
Yes.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Wow, you're getting into the banking stuff.
Well, this goes back.
Because it's phony money.
Right. Well, I mean, we're talking about a dynasty taking power by hoarding the wealth of nations, literally through central banking. And that's how, the Rothschilds, we can get into their specific history at some point. But their Investopedia estimates the family's total wealth at over $2 trillion in assets and holdings. Some of the world's oldest corporations.
That's a T.
A T.
Yeah, that's a T.
$2 trillion. A trillion is 1,000 billion. A trillion is 1,000 billion dollars.
That's crazy. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I wonder what that would look like in like $100 bills.
It would look like a freight train with boxcars stacked completely to capacity, miles long.
What could you imagine?
Dude.
You couldn't spend that.
No.
So you could just buy countries and take stuff over and play around like you're God.
Yeah, well, they are.
Is this God level?
Yeah, you don't look at it as spending.
They get like human life extension technologies, and they're always like doing crazy stuff you don't even know about.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them are like 500 years old or 400 years old.
Most of it has to do with just a standpoint of complete global domination, because what you're dealing with imagine being born into this dynasty, man, and just what would be put into your head from birth. Can you imagine?
Oh,
dude?
You'd be brainwashed so bad.
And we're talking about generations, several generations of like mass dominance over nations through financial control. And it was Mayor Amschel Rothschild said it himself. His quote was, "I care not what kind of army you have. If I control your bank, I control the war."
Yeah.
You know?
Is that how he said it?
It was pretty close to that.
You got to say you're paraphrasing there a little bit.
I am paraphrasing. So, but to have that kind of a megalomaniacal drive for power, they don't think of it as spending money. They are the money. They have all of the money.
Yeah, and as long as they keep everybody occupied and everybody entertained, they can go ahead and do whatever the hell they want.
As long as the squad and Donald Trump are bickering about who is a bigger piece of crap, then
they can have their way with the country.
Yes,
and the
it's
globe.
Bread and circuses, man.
Yeah. So meanwhile, you're looking in one hand, in the other hand, they're taking everything from you.
Yeah.
I mean, around after we get done with the break, we're going to be talking about those doorbell cameras and what they're doing and how they're able to track stuff, and they're actually giving them away for free in some rural areas because they can't get their satellites or whatever they got going on.
I don't want that any more than I want
Google. Google can't get down that dirt road. They need four-wheel drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they want to give those people those doorbells for free, just a select few.
They want to watch what's happening on the ground in real time.
Yeah, they're like, we're only going to give out like 4,000 of them or something like that. So we'll see. The community.
I don't want that any more than I want that robot, dude.
Yeah, there's some other stuff going on with robots we can talk about, and then obviously we're gonna have to talk about a little bit more about Trump's campaign after his campaign speech, or not, wherever the hell he was, Minnesota,
the Make America
or North
Great
Carolina,
Again speech.
Yeah, well, we got to talk about that because that's at the halfway point, and it's a little crazy some of the stuff he says. I don't think he understands what he's saying.
No, dude.
So. I mean, I'm sorry, our Trump supporters that listen, we're not here to badger. Yeah. We're not identity politics, but we have to point things out, man, because
I know
there's some craziness on here.
Yeah, and I know for sure because I know some of our listeners, obviously, and I know some of them tend to favor the left side of the aisle and some tend to favor the right side of the aisle, some more extreme than others. And it's, I agree with all of you sometimes and I disagree with all of you sometimes. And you probably already know that about me if you've talked to me at any length. But I've been pretty critical on here of AOC, very, because she is a gaffe machine. It's hilarious, and it's tragically hilarious that she has the kind of power and influence that she does. But it's a reflection of the people that chose her. Trump is really no better, man. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's very unknowledgeable. He's crude and anti-intellectual in so many ways. It's very easy to point out, but I don't know. I mean, I'm critical of all of them myself, man. What about you?
Yeah, I am. I'm for sure because I can tell they're both just jumping around like some idiots all the time.
I can see right through it. Yeah.
I could see right through it.
It's crazy.
And they're literally just splitting everybody right down the middle so nobody unites. And I don't know if they know they're doing this or not. But I think they need to stop both sides.
I don't think they really know, man.
Yeah, you think they're just
everybody's just letting it go down like
they're
this.
Like, your ratings, when you do this is what happens.
Right.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
It turns into a sensationalism, like entertainment, infotainment. And that's the most messed up part of this is that these people have real policy power. They have real power. I mean, they're not, their last name isn't Rothschild or Gates, but they have real power.
Yeah.
They can make national
decisions.
Mandate, man.
Right.
That can be enforced over us at the tip of a spear.
Yeah, all they need is those poll numbers to go up while they're polling them when they're saying stuff, and they see them going up. We're going to make this policy now,
right?
Because now all the people,
the policy will get made
you
without
can get people
even
behind
knowing.
you. You can get people behind you like crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, what do we do? Just listen to Trump here at the halfway point, and You tell me. I don't know if you heard this yet, but
I think I did.
He's saying some craziness and some stuff like I was talking about earlier in the show with Omar.
Yeah.
And he's gonna say what she says and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But she continues. She continues to say racist. He continues to say send her back or whatever.
They bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
They feed right out of each other's hands,
Yeah,
man.
they do. So here's Donald Trump.
Okay.
BobandBobShow.com.
So Representative Omar blamed the United States for the terrorist attacks on our country, saying that terrorism is a reaction to our involvement in other people's affairs. She smeared U.S. service members involved in Black Hawk Down. In other words, she slandered the brave Americans who were trying to keep peace in Somalia. Omar minimized the September 11th attacks on our homeland, saying some people did something. I don't think so. Some people did something. Yeah, some people did something, all right. She pleaded for compassion for ISIS recruits attempting to join the terrorist organization. She was looking for compassion. Omar laughed that Americans speak of Al-Qaeda in a menacing tone and remarked that you don't say America with this intensity. You say Al-Qaeda makes you proud. Al-Qaeda makes you proud. You don't speak that way about America. And at a press conference just this week, when asked whether she supported Al-Qaeda, that's our enemy. That's our enemy. They are a very serious problem that we take care of, but they always seem to come along somewhere. She refused to answer. She didn't want to give an answer to that question. Omar blamed the United States for the crisis in Venezuela. I mean, think of that one. And she looks down with contempt on the hard-working Americans, saying that ignorance is pervasive in many parts of this country.
All right, we're back. Donald Trump, man. Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
Enemy. Dude.
I got something to say about that right out the gate.
All right, go ahead. Blast off.
Trump is actually blaming individuals for what politicians are doing. The whole talk about, like, the troops,
Yeah.
he's criticizing what she's saying, something about the troops. She's not really talking about the troops. The troops do what they're ordered to do. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And you have to. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Joining the military is a choice. It's not necessarily a bad thing either. But the reality is, wars don't come from the troops.
No, they don't. They fight the wars.
Right. So, nobody's talking about that.
Okay.
I mean, that...
my thing was I was looking at Trump, and he's like, Al-Qaeda.
Yeah. Well, we did create Al-Qaeda.
Enemy, and that's space repetition right
I know.
there.
He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
She doesn't support Al-Qaeda. She doesn't.
Yeah, but dude, is Al-Qaeda...
She's calling out where it came from.
Is Al-Qaeda going to be the next terrorist threat that we have to deal with now?
Hasn't it been the one we've been dealing with for, since we armed them when they were fighting the Soviets?
Yeah.
The Mujahideen?
Yeah, but I'm just saying... It seems like they're building up for something out of nowhere.
Sure.
A
war with Iran, maybe. Huh?
Yeah, and he's just, she pretty much says our interventionalism in Venezuela, and she's blaming our interventionalism, which we have down there.
Anywhere, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
But yet he's literally just said that she blames the U.S. Like it's hatred for the U.S. when she does that.
It's not hatred for the U.S. She is defending I think she's defending real American values and liberty when she tells us not to be interventionalist.
Me too. Me too. And it sucks that we have to sit here with this identity politics thing.
Right.
We're gonna have
because,
people.
in my opinion, she is a defender of liberty in that.
Yeah, but in the other sense, it just seems like she's playing the game too. To me, with the
She is.
with the bantering of racism and bigotry against
they
Trump.
still feed out of each other's hands.
Yeah, they definitely do. So that means that's what makes me want to think that they're on some kind of other mission that I don't know about.
But our president.
Why are you saying these
Our
things?
president is standing on a stage, saying that a congresswoman is stupid for claiming that our interventionalism destabilizes other nations and causes problems that bleed out of their borders and affect us. And it's totally verifiable and true.
Yeah, and it's logical too. Just to think that way, that's like totally true.
Reason would take you right back to that, the root of the problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's standing there acting like that's an insane notion, which to me is insane. It's anti-intellectual at its core.
And this whole sender back thing, we were talking about it before the break, saying that if they don't like our country, they can go back to where they came from, or however he worded it.
Well, 3 of the 4 were born here, and the other is a citizen. So
yeah, but this kind of sentiment is brewing throughout the country with his followers, and it's scary. I mean,
they're talking about deporting people that are active service members in the U.S. military right now because they're not citizens. They're talking about kicking them out.
I mean, there's a lot of people that probably, I don't know how they're involved with our country, but they probably help us progress. That they're not illegal immigrants, but they're immigrants, or they were asylum seekers or something like that. But you can see them on both sides playing it off like, oh, the detention centers are so unfit and poor. They're getting beaten and raped and all this other crap.
Some of them they are, and some of them they aren't.
Well, that should be a deterrent from trying to come to this
Oh, yeah.
country.
Oh no! Don't
why
get
are
me
more
wrong.
coming?
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, hey, come on over. I'm saying I don't. It's already bad.
Yeah.
It's going to be very, very bad if you come to the border. You're going to end up in a situation that really, really, really sucks. I know you're already in one, but coming here ain't going to be any better. There's a million people in line in front of you.
Yeah. You might as well go make you a makeshift little fort and sleep in that for a week or two and then show up, and who knows.
I mean, I'm not saying people should keep coming. No, not at all. What I'm saying is this nation is a nation of immigrants, and some of the greatest progresses of society and fighters for liberty were immigrants. It just is what it is.
It's a different time now, man. Things have changed.
It's a different time
there's
every
a drug
day.
war. There's a lot of stuff. So
yeah, well, that is from government intervention too. Because all right, you know what? We destabilize all these other nations.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we destabilize our own?
Well, yeah. What kind of
the people
benefit?
that are controlling this are not doing anything for America's benefit. They're doing it through America. It's establishment speaking.
So destroying our way of life. What's that going to do?
Keep us without power, without
can't do anything.
Sovereignty over our own lives.
Well, they don't want to destroy an infrastructure and do a bunch of stuff.
That's why it's not a military war.
Yeah, it's a slow, just go back, sink into your couch, and watch CNN.
Yeah, the drug war is it is a paramilitary war. It's a huge tyranny, but the drug war, geez, dude, it's not all federal government either, because this takes me back to something here. I don't have the date right in my head, but in Philadelphia, the police bombed a neighborhood and blew up a bunch of row houses, like a military attack.
For what reason?
I think it was drug related. It was in the 70s, dude.
So they just took out a whole neighborhood.
Yeah, there's pictures of it. It looks like somebody dropped a 2,000-pound bomb on it, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So Trump. That's the higher realm.
America has lost its way. It's not about liberty.
Yeah. There's a tyrannical situation going on at every level. So we've been talking about the higher echelons of the government. Let's talk about the lower educational side of it on a local level.
Okay.
Well, these parents. This was in Pennsylvania. These parents were told they could lose their kids over unpaid school lunches.
That's insane.
This is crappy on all levels, because I
can't see anything about that is good in any way.
I mean, if these are negligent parents and they've been sent a bill and they're like, screw you, we're not paying it, and they're living in $100,000, $200,000 homes.
But the kids have to go to the school, right?
Yeah. That's taxpayer
They're being forced to be there.
That's taxpayer funded.
I know. But they're being forced to be there.
Yeah.
And the parents say they can't pay the $20 a week or whatever it may be to feed them, but the kids are being forced to be there.
Are they?
I don't know. Are they?
Can't you do homeschooling?
Yeah, I think you have to like enroll it that way or something. Though I'm not sure how the laws are on that.
Yeah, I bet.
But I know that
states are
truancy laws are a thing. So
yeah. Well, that's if they're enrolled.
This is like mandated socialism. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So they're forcing them to go to school. They're forcing them to get vaccinated, and they're forcing them to pay for their school lunches at the same time. And I mean, I get it. I pay my son's school lunch. I don't care. I mean, it's not that expensive. It's cheap. Taking
kids away for parents being behind on a bill that they didn't even ask for in the first place. I mean, what's the reality of this whole situation? Is this actually a mandate going through?
Has there been kids actually taken? I don't know. It's in Kingston, PA, I guess, and the district is warning. It's just warning. I don't think this is something that's gone through yet.
Right.
They're just like threatening stuff.
It seems completely illegal to me.
Yeah, but is it illegal to make that threat, I wonder?
It should be if it's not.
It's threatening.
Yeah.
We're gonna take
It is a threat.
We're going to take your kids. I mean, if you came on my property and said we're going to take your kids, you know, in the old days, that wouldn't work out very well.
No,
for
you would
anybody.
just end up dead.
Right. You can't do that. And the government likes to take kids, too.
I know.
I mean, we talked about Epstein or whatever. You know, he likes to take kids, too.
Well, that ain't the
government. So the rich billionaire
but
class likes to take
those are the ones next to and above the government.
Yeah, how come Epstein wasn't on that list of yours you had earlier?
I don't know, man. He's being held with no bond.
Is he?
Yeah.
Ah, jeez.
They're going to have to throw him to the wolves. It's too big.
Yeah, I think that's what he was set up for, probably. Yeah. He's going to go down. Yeah. But this is another situation where you can see the elite or the power-hungry, money financier, psychopathic people. This is how they infiltrate and do things to
everybody.
Local
government, too.
It's in local government. It's in higher government. It's in large corporations.
People that run governments have to be held accountable, and that can only take place by the people. That's what check stops are for. A lot of people don't seem to understand how all this works, man.
No, I don't understand why they don't understand.
Here's the thing. I'll give you an example of a local government committing a tyranny over its people. It got busted, too. Newburgh Heights. I go up there all the time for work, dude. All the steel mills are up there and stuff. Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
It's called Newburgh Heights, this town, this city. They were sending they got caught shaking down the public, man. They were sending people tickets that were not legitimate.
Oh, I saw that on the news.
Yeah, claiming that they were traffic violations that were caught on camera.
Yeah.
They were mailing out random tickets. They collected $900,000 of false tickets because people would get this ticket in the mail and just pay it, which I would never do, by the way. You send me the ticket in the mail, it's not getting paid.
Yeah, but they're going to be like, oh, this was something that was a snapshot of the street cam that got you or whatever.
Prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Prove it.
Yeah,
well, you have to go to court. You'll prove it. They throw it out most of the time from what I hear.
I'm just not going to pay it.
So then you're going to get a warrant out for your arrest.
Because you don't have to pay those tickets.
Don't have to pay what tickets?
There's tickets they send you in the mail that are from photographs or whatever. They can't prove that it was you driving the car, so you don't even have to pay it. You don't even have to try to defend it. But anyway, people do usually send money when there's authority attached to it. They just do it because that's what they've always been taught.
Yeah, and then, you know what?
$900,000.
They'll also, when...
they took from the people.
These doorbell cameras, people will also, they'll give those away, and people will just jump on them, and they'll buy them for their house.
Well, yeah.
And these doorbell cameras, actually, they're raising privacy concerns.
Yeah.
Because what's happening
Don't accept one, then.
Right. Well, they're going online. They're going on, 4G, soon to be 5G, all over the freaking place.
That's
and
another
brains are going to be scrambled. But anyway,
thing.
They're able to track heat sensors. They have heat sensors to track things and stuff, and I'm sure they're motion sensor as well. And on this app, which is called I forget what the app is called. It's called Ring. It's the company that manufactures these things. And so you can share if you see somebody come up and try to grab your package off the porch or whatever, and they don't and they run off, or if they do they run off, you can share that video footage with all your neighbors.
It's perimeter surveillance that you can share with all your neighbors, so y'all can do your neighborhood watch digitally now. Yeah. It all goes to some cloud that a corporation is holding, and they're probably going to make some deal with an agency where it'll be legal for them to hand it over for whatever prosecutory reasons that may occur in the future. And you will own none of your surveillance yourself because you gave it to a cloud. I see this going everywhere bad.
You have, and they're taking it to a new level when they take it to rural communities.
Yeah, they're
giving
taking
away
the surveillance state. The citizens are voluntarily taking these free items under the guise of, oh, you're going to be so safe and it's so technologically advanced. But what they're doing is bringing surveillance onto themselves.
Right. So this doorbell, it'll be recording. You'll be out there mowing your lawn. There's no reason for it to be recording.
It'll
anything.
be on and you don't even know it.
Yeah. You don't even know it. It's taking footage of you.
Yeah.
Or whoever, your friends, your family that walk up to your door and you don't even know, you know. And then they take that and do facial recognition off of that.
This is absolutely tyrannical, man.
Yeah.
If I see my neighbors with one of those, I'm going to rip it down.
So we're worried about Omar talking about Trump grabbing girls by the pee hole.
Which is messed up.
And you just
dude.
go ahead and get your freaking free doorbell, put it on there so that you can be tracked better.
Right.
Yeah, you know, you live in a rural area, so they can't really see you
I'm a
very well.
patriot. Let's get this surveillance thing going in our neighborhood.
Yeah, I love surveillance.
We got to get these criminals. You're going to be the criminal.
Criminal. So, you know, the privacy thing, it goes across the board, you know, from Facebook and all of it. Everything you freaking do, it's getting ridiculous.
Oh, it's deep, man.
There's really no reason to be, this is an invasion of privacy, but there's no reason to be that invading now. It's just gotten out of control.
Is.
And people are allowing it. That's the problem.
Oh, they're asking for it.
Yeah, they'll take it for free. They'll pay for it. They'll pay the monthly fee. They'll do whatever. And I guess in a technological era that we live in, it's a good thing that these kind of technologies are coming up. But there's a bunch of people that control these things.
Is it good?
I don't know what kind of license.
I don't see anything good.
What kind of license do
that.
you have to have in order to like be able to record this video and store it on a cloud and transfer this information? Is it,
the one you buy from the government?
Yeah, there's got to be a licensing that they want. You've got to pay
you're
for
talking
anything.
about people that have endless wealth doing this.
You think this Ring company has got endless wealth? They're just a doorbell camera company.
Who owns them?
I don't know. Who really knows who owns who anyway?
Who's investing?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Dude, all we know is this Ring company.
Oh, Amazon. It's a subsidiary of Amazon.
Well, there you go.
Booyah.
Amazon. Jeff Bezos is one of the richest people in the world. Amazon's publicly traded. And we know that Amazon is in cahoots with various bureaucracies.
And they're creating a robot that can run around your house on 5G and get you a beer. I don't know. We didn't figure out if we can get a beer from it, did we?
I don't really care because I don't need it.
Okay. I think that's what you said on the last show. Okay,
Yeah.
so the robot, now they got this doorbell.
Dude,
now
I can't believe it.
They can freaking track and monitor everything you sell, everything you buy, everywhere you go, what you're wearing that day. As you walk by that, imagine this, as you walk by that video doorbell, tracks your facial expressions.
Sure.
And understands that you're in a bad mood today.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
China's surveillance.
Is that how China is?
Yeah, their credit system, their social credit system with millions of cameras all over the place monitoring everything that everyone does.
Yeah,
dude, this
and
is
it locks in facial recognition, and it pulls
dude.
up a little thing that has your like credit score and what kind of car you drive, and what's your heart rate
it's
right now.
watching what
Remember
you're
we were talking
doing?
about that, the heart rate, your
oh, that's your Fitbit right there, buddy.
Yeah, you got everything plugged in, and
Dude.
somebody's at the top pulling them strings, looking at them screens, or Google's algorithms are picking it up, and
get me out of here.
AI is watching everything.
I'm never coming out of the woods again.
No, they're gonna start putting doorbells on trees.
Dude, they'll be gone as soon as I see them, man. They will be gone.
They'll be camouflaged and hidden in the bark. You won't be able to see them, man.
That's okay.
That's probably, like Hunger Games. There'll be like all kinds of little things that pop out of trees and cameras, and oh man, they're gonna get to all.
Well, they
that.
have to have legal jurisdiction to do that first, but they don't need it as long as people are just going ahead and doing it on their own.
Well, we can keep watching the Dog and Pony show. That's fun.
Yeah.
You can make sure to watch your entertainment every night and don't pay attention to anything and who gives a crap. Go ahead, do that.
I watch historical documentaries all the time.
Do you? I bet you do.
That's all I watch.
Yeah, I get into the History Channel here and there.
Some of it's so boring I can't even believe I'm watching it.
Oh man, sometimes I get into that too, but I turn it off.
Sometimes I do. It's pretty hard to get.
Yeah, you got to watch stuff though. I mean, entertainment also reflects. A lot of the movies reflect what the future might hold.
Well, art imitates reality, man. Even though it is sometimes abstract and literally abstract visually or, just in content. But art does reflect reality. It always has. It's human expression. And what we're expressing is our perception of reality. So movies being made that go along with some various conspiracy theories, whether verified or not, makes sense.
Yeah.
But they're fiction.
Mm-hmm. Well, we also got your buddy Bernie Sanchez or Sanders, his staff demanding $15 an hour because they say they should be he's talking about that federal minimum.
They're making his ass cash the checks that his mouth writes, man.
Right. Well, here goes your socialism right there, buddy.
No, he's experiencing it right now. There's always a benefactor. There is always a benefactor to social programs. But what they're doing is not necessarily a social program. What they're doing, I like it even more, because it's not Bernie Sanders' philosophy that they're using. They are using the free market idea.
Capitalism.
They're using the idea of a corporation and a labor union as equal power structures negotiating how this thing's going to work. That is voluntarism. It's socialism under a voluntary model. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And basically what they're doing, especially if they succeed in this, they're going to succeed either way, because they're either going to expose Bernie for a fraud, because if he's not going to do it, then his entire campaign just collapses right there.
Well, his excuse will be, well, we're not in a democratic socialist state yet. If we were in it,
I hope
could do
they're
it.
smart enough to call BS on him, because it is.
Well, he's
Bernie
gonna say,
Sanders bullshit.
He's going to say we're living in a capitalistic society right now, and I can't do that.
He can't. Well, then he can't change it at all. His entire platform collapses if he doesn't do it. And if he does do it, he's showing that state socialism isn't necessary, because voluntarism just ruled the day.
Oh yeah, so he's a done data. If anybody
he's
knows,
dead either way,
if anybody
man.
notices that, man, he's done. But listen, just like some of the supporters for other presidents and presidential candidates and stuff like that, they're following the identity politics. So Bernie can do no wrong.
Well,
just like Trump can do no wrong, just like this squad of rejects or whatever.
Truth comes out to be self-evident, just like this thing with Bernie. Well, I don't know if people even know what that's about, because we didn't say. We've discussed it. We didn't say it on the show. What's going on is that Bernie's campaigners are basically demanding labor rights. They want $15 an hour, and they want health care to work on his campaign. They want to be compensated with health care and a $15 an hour minimum wage to work on his campaign. They work for him. And he's saying that all these corporations, because a campaign is a company. It is.
Right.
And what everybody knows Bernie's rhetoric: minimum wage, $15 an hour, livable wage, free health care, blah, blah, blah.
Workers own the property,
Sure.
own the business, and it's a societal thing. It's not a governmental thing.
Right.
So,
well, that's voluntarism, and that's what they're doing right now, is calling him on that, and he's done either way.
It's awful.
If he does it, he proves that socialism isn't necessary, because these social things will take care of themselves, and government should always be the last intervention, right?
Yeah.
Because government is war, because government is force, and force is war.
Yeah, government's last resort, no matter what.
Right. So they're going to either prove that his platform isn't even necessary, or they're going to prove that he is a fraud. Either way, he loses.
I wonder what his polls are right now.
That's hilarious. I don't know. Maybe we should look it up.
Whatever happened to creepy Joe Biden? I ain't hearing him in the news right now either.
CJB.
You know what? Maybe all this stuff that they got going on in the media is just trying to cool down the crazy memes about Biden. Even though,
no.
Did you see the one
Biden's
meme?
just not in the game.
Did you
dude.
see the one meme with him? He's like, we're going to raid Area 51 or whatever.
The alien.
Afterwards, he's like groping on an alien,
of
dude.
course.
It was awesome.
I've seen a million of them.
I know. They probably got to get these things to cool down. He's in a political race right now.
He's not that I don't know. He was vice president, but I don't know. Biden, to me, is like one of the old school. He's a boomer. You know what I mean? He's one of the older style politicians, more like Nixon era type philosophies. Because, well, first of all, as long as we're talking about Biden, let's just go ahead and talk about how he is one of the proponents and architects of civil asset forfeiture, which is when the government is allowed to roll in and basically just plunder you like a pirate, take your stuff,
Your property.
Yeah, your property, your belongings, and make it theirs, confiscate it from you without due process.
What's that? All in the guise of terrorism?
Yeah, or like say you get pulled over with a bag of Coke in your pocket or something, and they can be like, "Oh, this is a nice truck. It's ours now because it was used in the transmission of a drug deal. The only way you're going to get it back is to prove that wrong." Well, that could take years.
And you might not.
It's done and over with. You'll never get it back.
You might not be able to prove it in the court of law, so
right.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So
it makes it legal for the government to just plunder you, and he's also a proponent of the drug war, which brings us into things like civil asset forfeiture becoming a thing. I don't know, man. The drug war is one of the greatest tyrannies that's ever been placed on a nation.
Yeah, but could you imagine the population actually talking like you and me are talking, and they understand things in this manner really well, and they're well-rounded. They're not busy playing the identity politics. They're watching what is actually happening within the country.
Watch what they say, forget about what they forget about what they say, watch what they do.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but what they do, but what has been already done.
Right.
Like you have to look at the actual things that are happening and then compare them to what they are saying. You find out they're just running off at the mouth.
You know what? If there's anything we've learned from history, it's that we do not learn from history.
Now, that's how it is now.
That is a perspective. That being said, that's in reference to how the population at large is, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if there is anything we've learned from history, is that they absolutely learn from history
and use it against you
from an establishment perspective.
Yes,
because it gets used against you.
Yes.
Yeah.
They see that it worked here, it worked there, so
right.
now we're going to use it here, we're going to use it there.
The same things are used over and over and over thousands of years.
There's definitely there's definitely something going on. People need to pay attention to it. You know what I mean? People need to stop watching the Dog and Pony Show and actually watch Team Reality. Watch freaking, you know what I mean?
The Dog and Pony Show.
What is really happening, dude? You know?
The Dog and Pony Show becomes unwatchable.
Yeah, I guess. Some people love it, dude. You see it on social media just flying across your screen.
But they believe it.
I know they believe it. Identity politics, man.
But they're not really looking at the bigger picture and what the distraction is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Once he said no immigrants, and we're like, yeah.
Yeah, once you realize that mob mentality is just crazy distraction, nonsense, then it's not watchable anymore. It's not palatable anymore.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Maybe for you, but other people are just sucked into it with freaking mind control, and they're buying everything they're saying. They're buying everything they're saying.
It still works.
And they're going for this duality. They're going for this fight against this fight and the separation.
The parties should go away.
I know. If we could step back and all just sit around a fire together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And talk about some of these things. And instead of being like in Congress, forming our opinions based upon what the media shows us. So that's our opinions.
Yeah.
Instead of forming your own opinion based on what you see and what you actually can understand, they're just throwing stuff in your face.
People just accept. They eat what they're fed.
They eat what they're fed?
Yeah.
And they believe it then?
Sure.
See, well, how come we don't?
Because we decided to not eat it and look around and see what else is going on.
Yeah, but what happens in somebody's head when you're like, hey, man, this is all fake, dude. Or if it's not fake, it's actually something that's just staged.
A lot of times they just call you crazy.
Yeah, they're like, oh, no way, Donald Trump. He knows what he's doing. He's a businessman. Or AOC is the future. She wants a Green Deal.
Yeah, but he's a businessman that's filed bankruptcy multiple times.
Well, she wants a Green Deal that never shows.
Just like the government. Oh,
yeah, she shows a Green Deal that really shows no Green Deal.
Well, the problem with the Green Deal is that it's absolutely unsustainable the way it's laid out, and It goes right to the state solution of just using government mandate to control industry and practices for quote-unquote progress. But anytime you
use democratic socialism to control it.
Yeah, well, democratic socialism, that's hilarious. But the democracy is a farce, and we can get into that some other time. But the idea that just using government mandate for things like this, positive government on that level, gives government so much power that it can become basically just a despotic entity, and that is absolutely horrid. And it also is a failure to go right to government mandate when nothing else has really been tried through any other natural means. Because the reality of this is that government mandate is why these corporations have enough power to sequester technologies like self-charging electric cars, for example. That's one side of it. So how is any politician in office right now going to just go ahead and shatter an established establishment, well-established establishment?
It's not going to.
It's not going to.
It's not going to.
And not to mention, forcing people to ride trains is not liberty either. Because if you want to drive a car, you're not allowed anymore or whatever. It's just dumb. It's logistically stupid, too. Later.
Yeah, bobandbobshow.com. Check us out. Thanks for listening.
You talk about politics all the time.